Good morning. It's time for Two Guys on Sports. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson. Good morning, Larry.
Morning, Dick. And here we go. Week 3 of the high school football season in the books.
In the books. Another good week for the Nielsville Warriors.
Yeah.
Traveling over to Durand to play Durand, Arkansas, and coming away with a 28-6 victory. So,
Yeah, a pretty good game, both sides of the ball.
Yeah, really it was. But, I said they gave up an early touchdown on the first drive, but I'll tell you what, the defense really stopped the Durand running game, which is their big part of it. And you could see when they had to throw, they did not throw well.
Right.
So, and then I give the coaches a lot of credit. At halftime, they did not run the ball well in the first half. They came out running that ball in the second half and really ran it well and wore down Durand in the second half. And you could see it. Every time Gunnar Barth and Mike Ozowski ran the ball, it was getting harder and harder for them to get tackled.
Yeah,
So,
and the time ran off the clock. And
you
everything.
bet. So it was just
good
just-
second half.
You bet. So
And the Warriors, as you mentioned, didn't run the ball well in the first half, but threw the ball well.
threw the ball well. Yeah, it's a lot of single coverage on Braylon Boyer and Ashton Schultz, and Bryce Erickson had time and was able to pick them out, and that was how they got down there and got that first touchdown. So,
So Nielsville Granton now 2-1 on the season, and 1-0 in the Clover Belt, and now they go to week 4. Hard to believe I'm saying week 4 of the high school football season, but. Fall Creek now comes into town into D.E. Peters Athletic Field, and there's a team that likes to throw the ball.
I was going to say, this is going to be totally different for the Warriors because the first 3 weeks they played teams that do not depend on the pass. They
Right.
want to run the football. Last week in their loss to Stanley Boyd, maybe part of it was because of a loss, but Nathan Kurtz, the quarterback of Fall Creek, was 19 out of 50 for 235 yards, 1 TD, and 3 interceptions. So.
But like you said, they may have fallen behind, and maybe,
Yeah, they did fall. They were ahead 7-0 at halftime, Larry.
Okay.
And then Madden Marr of Stanley Boyd returned the opening kickoff, 81 yards for a touchdown. And after that, the momentum all swung to Stanley Boyd, and Fall Creek scored a late touchdown to make it 25-14. But Stanley Boyd really took it to him in the second half.
So the passing may have been something they had to do, but Fall Creek still likes to pass the ball.
Yeah, and you look at their they the other night they rushed for 24 yards.
Wow.
But as we've seen over the years, Larry, watching this, they use their backs on short passes, and it's almost like a running. That's kind of more their running game anyway. So, but so it'll bring in some interesting deals, because the Warriors are going to have to get a rush on Kurtz and hopefully play good, solid defense on the back end.
Right.
Right.
So Fall Creek, Nielsville Granton, Friday night, 7 o'clock on 92.7 WPKG with the pregame at around 6:35. But the other game in the Clover Belt has Mondovi at Stanley Boyd.
This should be a dandy. Stanley Boyd looks like they're as good as everybody thought, and Osceola was 2-0, and then they got a forfeit from Osseo Fairchild last week, so they're 3-0, and so. But they're traveling up to Stanley Boyd. We'll see. So.
Yeah, you look at the latest rankings in the state, and Mondovi is currently 4th in Division 6.
Yeah, right.
So,
yeah, and what's interesting, Larry, these are the next 2 teams on Nielsville's schedule.
right.
So
Maybe they got a scout up there.
yeah, but Stanley Boyd looks like they're doing the usual things they always did. They're kind of built for that turf up at Forward Financial Field, and a lot of passing out of a lot of short stuff to the backs, and a lot of misdirection.
Yeah,
so
they're always known for that.
Yep, so.
And Mondovi, I'm not so sure what they're up to this
Yeah,
year without
I
their
don't
big
know.
quarterback.
Yeah, I believe I forget his name, but their wide receiver is their starting quarterback.
Okay.
And then Peyton Snyder is their big running back.
So they kind of did what Durand did.
Yeah,
Put their receiver at quarterback.
Yep. So
All right. A couple of games in the area tonight. And 8-man, Prairie Farm is at Greenwood, and Alma Center Lincoln is at Lake Holcomb tonight. Those are the only games in our area. And speaking of 8-man football, we got a new number 1 team, and it's another area team. It's Gilman now.
Gilman, yep. Thorpe had a lead at McDonald at halftime, but the Macs really came out and took it to them. Second half, outscored them, I believe, 24-0. I think it was 20-6 at halftime, as I recall, and I think the final was 30-20.
Yep, 30-20. So that moved McDonald Central up 6 notches to number 3 this week in the 8-player poll, and Thorpe moves down to number 6.
You know, what I found interesting, too, looking at the 8-man, you know, we talked about Wausau Newman being the number 1. They got thrashed by Florence again last week, so I don't think it's going to be Wausau Newman's year in 8-man.
No, Newman Catholic is out of the poll. Florence, by the way, was not ranked last week, and they are ranked 8th.
Yeah,
after that win.
And the same thing with Three Lakes and Three Lakes Phelps last week. They were not ranked, and then they went into Wausau Newman and beat them, and now they're right up there too.
Ranked second in the state.
Yeah, so.
All right. Speaking of the polls, the AP poll also came out, which is a little different than the WisSports.net coaches poll. The coaches poll kind of goes more in divisions.
Yeah, this goes big, middle, and large, small, I believe. Yeah.
Large, medium, and small is what they go by. And Kimberly is the top team in the AP poll for the large divisions. Port Washington is number 1 in the medium divisions. It's funny because Catholic Memorial got votes in the AP poll, but they're number 1 still in that coaches poll. And Kenosha St. Joseph is the top team in the small divisions. So it's a little different for the AP and the coaches poll. All right, girls volleyball. They're going to be getting into conference, I would think.
Next week.
Next week, okay.
Yeah, this week, the girls Saturday, Nielsville girls, are at an invitational at Sparta.
Okay.
And that includes Fall Creek, GET, Altoona Regis. I did not realize Altoona and Regis co-op in volleyball.
I did not know either.
Okay. Wanawak Center, Arcadia, Menominee, Mauston, Black River Falls, and, of course, Sparta and Nielsville. So pretty good competition down there.
Yeah, you look at the latest poll for girls volleyball, and Fall Creek did receive votes in Division 3, so they are going to be down there.
Yeah. And the girls, the volleyball, Nielsville girls volleyball, starts at their conference season Tuesday at Greenwood. So,
okay.
So,
all right.
So
I was going to say, that'd be getting going
Yeah,
pretty
they're
soon.
playing an awful lot of
a lot of volleyball before they get to the conference.
You bet they do. So.
All right. And in cross country, the big cross country meet last weekend over in Marshfield, and they had another one earlier in the week.
Yeah. But as I said last night, the local guys in the area in the small school division were very respectable. Isaac Shear and Nathan Shear were 1 and 3 in that race. And then Connor Genneman from Loyal Greenwood and Bryce Deegan from Loyal Greenwood were 6th and 10th. And then Will Drinka from Nielsville, a very respectable 11th, and Hunter Schultz, 17th. So very nice showing over there for those guys. So.
And then they had another one on Tuesday over at Wildwood Park, and Isaac Shear took first overall in that one.
Yeah, this is going to be his year, I think. So.
Yeah, they said in that Marshfield Tiger Cross Country Invitational, his freshman year he took 3rd, last year he took 2nd, and now as a junior he took first.
Yeah. We'll see what he does as a senior.
Better and better and better. Yeah,
you bet. So,
he is good.
Nielsville will be hosting a meet this next Tuesday at Levis.
Okay.
And that's a 13-team deal, too.
It's usually a big one.
Yeah. Augusta, Cadott, Stanley Boyd, Auburndale, Columbus Catholic, speaking of the Shears, Toma, Bangor, Marathon, Chippewa Valley Lightning Bolts, Mondovi, Loyal Greenwood, Elma Center, Lincoln, and Nielsville. So very big field there, and a lot of quality teams, too, it looks like to me, too. So
yeah, that should be a good one over at Levis Mount again next Tuesday for that
you
one
bet. So.
in cross country. All right, before we get into more of sports that's happening, let's get into where are they now.
Okay, Larry, I'm going to go up to Athens, and I want to talk about Bob Empey. And Bob Empey was a 1989 graduate of Athens High School. Bob was a 3-year letter winner for Athens cross-country team. His junior year, he placed 12th at the Marywood Conference meet, which earned him second-team all-conference honors. He also placed 6th at the WIA Regional that year, which qualified him for the WIA Sectionals, where he would place 22nd. His senior year, he placed 5th at the Marywood Conference meet, which earned him a first-team all-conference honors. He placed 4th at the WIA Regional, qualifying him for the WIA Sectionals, where he would place 14th. In the winter, Bob was a member of the Athens Blue Jay wrestling team, where he was a 4-year letter winner. His freshman year, he was 12 and 9, and his sophomore year, he was 15 and 10. His junior year, Bob was 19 and 9. He placed 2nd at the Marywood Conference meet, earning second-team all-conference honors. And he finished 2nd at the WIA Regional, qualifying for the WIA Sectional, where he would finish 5th. His senior year, Bob was 22 and 6, and he was a Marywood Conference and Regional champion, qualifying for the WIA sectional tournament where he would finish third, just missing out on a trip to the WIA state tournament. In the spring, Bob was a 3-year letter winner on the Athens track team, running the distance events for the Blue Jays. His senior year, he would finish second in the 2-mile at the WIA regional, qualifying him for sectionals. After graduation, Bob would enroll at UW Stevens Point and join the Pointer wrestling team. Bob would wrestle 4 years for the Pointers with a career record of 45 wins and 31 losses. Bob would graduate from UW Stevens Point with a degree in physical education in 1994. His first teaching job was at Stevens Point Area High School as a physical education teacher and assistant wrestling coach under Hall of Fame coach Dave Amdahl. In 1996, Bob was hired at Stoughton High School as a physical education teacher and assistant wrestling coach. In 1999, head coach Dan Spilde asked Bob to become co-head coach with him, and they continue in these same positions today. Since 1999, Stoughton has won 20 Badger Conference Wrestling champion, been the Conference Wrestling champion 20 times. They have won 22 WIA team regionals and 16 WIA team sectional championships to qualify for the WIA Division I state team tournament. In 2001, they were D1 runners-up, losing to Wisconsin Rapids in the finals 36-18. In 2004, they were runners-up, losing to Wisconsin Rapids 37-16. In 2015, they were runners-up, losing to Kaukauna 41-21. And in 2016, they were runners-up, losing to Kaukauna again 29-27. In 2017, they were runners-up, losing to Kaukauna again 35-27. In 2018, they finally broke through, defeating Holman 31-29 in the Division I finals. In 2019, they would repeat as Division I champions, defeating Mukwonago 42-24 in the finals. And in 2020, they would make a three-peat, defeating Mukwonago in the finals 32-30. In 2021, they would go back to runners-up, losing to Kaukauna 38-26 in the finals. Since 1999, the Stoughton Viking wrestling program has produced 23 Division I state champions, including 3-time champion Nicolas Rivera, now a member of the Wisconsin Badger wrestling team. Bob and his wife Lynn have had 3 sons that were and are a part of the Stoughton wrestling program. Son Brooks had a career record of 148 wins and 30 losses. He was 6th at Division I 182 as a freshman, 2nd at 195 as a sophomore, and state champion at 220 pounds as a junior and senior. Today, Brooks is a member of the Wisconsin Badger wrestling program. Son Griffin wrestled heavyweight for Stoughton for 4 years, having a career record of 151 wins and 22 losses. He was a state qualifier as a freshman and was second-place finisher as a sophomore, junior, and a senior. Today, Griffin is a member of the football program at North Dakota State. Youngest son Gatlin had a 23-25 record as a freshman this previous year at 170 pounds and was a sectional qualifier. Bob's coaching record at this point is 425 wins and 52 losses. Bob was elected to the Wisconsin Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2018. And also the Stoughton Wrestling Club is host team for the Wisconsin Wrestling Youth Wrestling Tournament at the Alliant Energy Center every year in March. Before the tournament starts, there's a parade of wrestlers, and that parade always starts off with Bob Empey announcing, "Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you the future of Wisconsin wrestling." Bob and Lynn Empey and their family reside in Stoughton, Larry. So.
Wow. Stoughton. There's a wrestling name for you. Wow.
Yeah. I said, if you take out Kaukauna and Wisconsin Rapids, they'd be a true juggernaut, I think.
Yeah, they'd be a lot of years in a row they'd have won the state championship.
And they have had more individual champions, state champions than any school in the state. I believe they've had like 60 champions.
Wow.
And they're above Rapids and Mineral Point and a few of these schools, but they've really put them out down there. So
have they since he's been there?
No, they've had 23 since he's been there, but their program goes back to the early 60s.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But he's put out some pretty good wrestlers, and including his own sons. And I said it's almost a shame. His son Griffin, 3 times a runner-up, might have been one of the best wrestlers ever to come through that tournament without winning a championship.
All right, good stuff there. Where are they now? All right, let's move on here with the Badgers. Football team got off to a nice start. Looked a little slow there in the beginning.
A little sluggish. I said, I think everything is a work in progress.
Yeah.
Offensively, I said you got a new offense, you got a new defensive coordinator. I think everything is a work in progress. But, as time went on and, the passing game, I thought the quarterback was, in some places he was pretty good, some places pretty bad. He had a sure touchdown dropped in the second period by Skylar Bell,
from what I seen, Mordecai looked a little bad.
Yeah,
in the beginning,
it looked very bad.
But he came alive a little bit.
He came alive, and I said, it's still that offense is still going to be around Allen and Malusi, I think. So,
Boy, Allen's a horse.
He is.
Wow, he got a little bigger.
I think he's about 240, 250.
He is, and still fast and runs over people.
And, he's only 19 years old. And when he was a freshman, and you talk about putting muscle on, Larry, when he was a freshman in high school, he still wrestled. He made the state tournament in Division I at 170 pounds. So he has put on about 70 pounds since he went down to Madison.
Yeah, he's a
since
big
his freshman
boy.
year, yeah. And like I said, he's only 19 years old. So, but I said I watched him wrestle Gunnar Hoffman a few times, and the kid would have been a tremendous wressler if he'd have been stuck with it. But football was his love.
Yeah,
and he's going to make some money doing it.
I think so. I think so. Yes, indeed. So they got Washington State now on Saturday night.
It's kind of a little bit of a revenge game. Washington State came into Camp Randall last year and beat them, and that was kind of started the downslide of the Paul Christ era. Okay. So that'll be interesting.
Out in Washington, Pullman, Washington is where they play that. 6:30 Saturday night on ABC. Well, at least we get that one.
Yeah.
Good thing it wasn't on ESPN.
Yeah, I worried about that because ABC. But speaking of a lot of upsets last week on a college football, Larry, more than you normally see opening weekend. I said you had Florida over LSU, Duke over Clemson. Who would have thought that one?
That one.
How about Wyoming over Texas Tech? Texas State over Baylor.
Yeah.
And then how about Coach Prime in Colorado over TCU? But
he's got him hyped up out there.
His son's quite a quarterback too.
You might see more of his games on TV.
I think you're going to see a lot of games of his on TV,
just because of his because of him. I mean, he brings that aura to the game.
Yeah, and that they went into TCU and they played a good ball game there.
They did.
They really did. And
with all them new players.
Yeah, you bet. So
look out.
And they got Nebraska this week, and I didn't think Nebraska was overly great against Minnesota. I know Minnesota's pretty decent, but I think they're going to beat Nebraska this weekend too. So
yeah, and that one's at home.
Yeah, right. So
other than that, I don't see anything too stand out this year.
Texas at Alabama.
Okay.
That'd be the big kind of the headliner this week.
All right.
And this would be the first time these two teams have ever met when they were both ranked.
Wow.
Yeah. Texas is 11th and Alabama is 3rd. And
of all the years?
Yeah.
Wow.
They haven't played that often. Though.
Oh, okay.
I don't think that I can remember anyway.
It's always kind of funny how they don't.
Yeah. It's always been, the Texas-Oklahoma game has always been a big, I think they call that the Red River something.
Yeah.
There's always something. So, anyway,
All right. So college football, second week in action there. And again, the Badgers are at Washington State.
And they are ranked 19th this week.
Yeah, they stayed at 19.
Yeah, so
one team did fall a lot, and that was LSU.
LSU, yeah. Clemson, too. Clemson, I think, either fell out or they went all down 25th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you don't lose to unranked teams
Duke,
and expect to stick around too long. Especially as bad as they lost to them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and
it wasn't just a close game.
Dabo Sweeney was shaking his head pretty bad over that one. So.
Well, they have a couple of blocked field goals.
Yes, absolutely.
Some fumble inside the 5.
Just about everything that could go wrong went wrong for Clemson. So.
Yeah.
But that program has fallen off quite a bit the last 2 or 3 years, too. Yeah. I mean, that was with Alabama, that was the number 1, number 2 game.
Since Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence, exactly.
Basically, since he went.
Yep,
so they going south.
Yep.
Well, the Brewers took one on the chin again yesterday.
Yeah.
Got off to a nice lead with Adames' home run.
But that, their last 3 losses, Larry, Sunday to Philadelphia and Monday night to the Pirates, they had a lead early in every game and did not add on runs. Did not add on runs and had trouble even getting people on base. And
and that's what they did when they were winning.
Right. even Tuesday night, that's what they did too. Same thing. They got people on base. They did not hit a home run Tuesday night. Scored 6 runs in an inning. But so they've got a stretch coming up here. They've got 3 games in New York, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday
against the Yankees.
They'll probably see Garrett Cole on Sunday. So we'll see. So it's. And the Yankees are down this year, but they're still the Yankees.
Then I think they're at. Then they have Miami.
Miami for 4 and Washington for 3 at home next week, and they've still got to go to Miami, and I believe they have a home and home with St. Louis yet.
Oh wow!
And a home with the Cubs yet.
Yeah, the Cubs. And the Cubs are now within a game and a half after they won yesterday again.
So yeah, the Cubs are playing great.
Yeah, they are.
They are just playing super, and they just swept the Giants 3 in a row. Giants were in the playoff. Wild card discussion there, and now they've kind of fell off. Chicago has a 4-game home series this weekend with Arizona, so that will have wild card implications also. So.
Right now, Arizona is a game back of Cincinnati in the wild card race.
Yeah, I said, I listened all year about how terrible the NL Central was, but right now it's a good possibility they could have 3 teams in the playoffs.
They could very well have 3 teams. Yes,
right. So.
We'll see what happens there. Wow. Yeah. Okay, week 1 of the NFL season. It gets underway tonight, and everybody's talking about the matchup because Chris Jones is not playing for Kansas City and Travis Kelce's not playing.
Okay.
At least that last I heard, he hurt his knee.
Yeah, last I heard, Kelce, I haven't heard if he's in or out. Jones is still in negotiations.
Yep.
So, and he most certainly would go on a restricted list for probably a week or 2, but that's the big thing right there. You take Chris Jones out of that lineup, and I believe the Kansas City defense becomes pretty average.
Yeah. I guess they have Kelce listed as questionable for tonight against and as we mentioned before, surprisingly, the Detroit Lions are the team that they face in that first game tonight.
Just kind of odd. You'd think it would be somebody from the division or somebody from the conference, but pretty good intermatch, And the Lions, of course, are a very sexy pick this year, coming off, a playoff run last year. I think they did not make the playoffs last year, but they were close.
Yeah, very close.
They've been a very sexy pick to win the North. But I'm not sold on Jared Goff, but I do think they have a terrific defense. So,
So it could be an interesting game tonight.
Yeah, you bet. So.
7:20 is the start on NBC, and of course the Packers. They open up against the Bears at Chicago at 3:25 on Fox, and you can also hear that on 107.5 WCCN.
Let the Jordan Love era begin.
5th straight year that the Packers have opened on the road. They're the only team to do that.
Yeah, and they're going to play 2 on the road in a row.
Right.
Normally, all those other years, the second game was at Lambeau, but this week they're going down. This year they're going down to Atlanta the second week. So pretty interesting start for them. So, but.
Packers and the Bears, 2 winningest teams in the NFL history. Of course, the Packers are the winningest with 790 wins, and the Bears with 786.
Yeah, there's a lot of hope that the Bear fans always have their hope. We'll see. Justin Fields, but
2.5-point favorite, I think, is what I last saw.
I don't see where the Bears have improved themselves all that. I mean, they picked up a pretty good receiver in Moore.
Yeah,
but Montgomery, the running back that always gave the Packers fits, he's in Detroit now. So
did they take the tight end away from the Packers?
Yeah, Robert Tonyan.
Yeah.
So, which interesting. I always liked Robert Tonyan, but a knee injury a couple of years ago really curtailed him. So.
One of the matchups to watch, of course, this for Week 1 is Buffalo at New York take on the Jets on Monday night.
Monday night, I suppose we won't be able to see that either.
Unless some negotiations quickly.
But anyway, Buffalo at New York, and of course the debut of Aaron Rodgers. So, and we'll see if the Jets are for real, because Buffalo's going to come in there.
Did you hear the Jets DB, defensive back, talking they were the best defense since the Bears of 85?
Good for him. That's
some serious talk right there.
Considering he probably wasn't even born in '85. So. I watched that team in '85, Larry, and I know you did too.
Oh.
There have been very few teams that have ever held a candle to that defense.
2 shutouts in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I said about the only team that ever came close to it, the Eagles, when they had Reggie White and Golick and a couple other guys on the front line, and they had Seth Joyner as a linebacker. I thought that was the only team that ever came close. But the 1985 Bears were special.
I mean, if you didn't have an offensive line, you had no time to throw the ball.
No, they came at you all the time. And it was kind of interesting, after that year, Buddy Ryan left to take a head coaching job, and they went to a different defense other than 46, and they were never the same again.
No.
Never the same again. So.
And they had I think they had basically
same personnel. Same base personnel.
Yeah.
And I always remember after their Super Bowl against New England, reading that a lot of the Bears defense begged the owner, do whatever you can to keep Buddy Ryan around, but there was a lot of problems between him and Mike Ditka.
Yeah.
And
Buddy probably wanted
primarily ego, too.
Oh, I'm sure. And I'm sure Buddy Ryan
wanted to do his own show.
Wanted to be a head coach.
And he went to Philadelphia, and that was the architect of that defense that I just mentioned also, too. So.
All right. Well, speaking of the NFL, Chris Mortensen kind of quietly retired.
He's had a lot of health problems, but I said all the years I watch ESPN, Larry, and nothing against Adam Schefter, but I don't think anybody ever did it like Chris Mortensen and John Clayton.
Yeah, right.
And, of course, John Clayton passed away last year. But those two guys were the best NFL reporters I've ever seen.
Yeah.
They were good and detailed.
Mortensen had some cancer.
Throat, I believe.
Yeah, throat cancer a few years ago. But
he
kind of just stepped away quietly after the NFL draft and hasn't been seen. That's why, because he retired.
Yeah, so.
No more.
But he was great.
Yes,
he was great.
Yes. So. Well, ESPN, their shakeup continues there with all the people moving around.
But all these good quality people.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, so who knows? Maybe it's Disney's.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
FIBA World Cup in basketball. The semifinals are set to go. The USA will play Germany.
Okay.
And Canada will face Serbia on Friday.
Yeah, I find it, I said it was kind of interesting to me. Lithuania beat the USA, but then they didn't make the semifinals.
Yeah.
So, but
I don't know how that all went, but
yeah. Well, what I've understand, the USA does not have a not a real big lot of size, and Lithuania kind of took it to them in the inside. And so but
and Serbia, I don't think has Jokovic is not playing.
I don't think so
in this. Kind of like Giannis did not play with Greece.
Greece,
either.
yeah. So,
but some teams did make.
There's quite a few guys playing though. So
I mean, some teams who did make the quarterfinals actually are qualified for the Olympics next year.
Yep.
Australia, Japan, and South Sudan.
Well, that's a first, huh?
Not sure who's playing with them, but
yeah, I say I've never heard of an NBA player from South Sudan, but
I guess a lot of people.
Or is that where Manute Bol came from?
That could be.
I wonder. I think that's where Sudan. I think was where Manute Bol was from. So.
Well, I know a lot of people are looking for a USA-Canada final.
Yep.
In this FIBA World Cup.
Yeah, I think Germany will be tough in there too. So.
Yeah. Let's see. ESPN reports that more than 1 in 4 American adults could bet on the NFL season this year.
Okay.
Approximately 73.5 million Americans, 28% of the adult population, are expected to bet on the NFL.
If that includes an office pool, well, I'm one of them. Then. So, other than that, no.
Well, I don't know if you're part of the $250 billion that's been bet with American sportsbooks since 2018.
I tell you what, sports gambling is getting to be a huge.
Well, you got
huge
all
thing.
these licensed sportsbooks now.
Yeah.
And they're in 34 states.
Yeah. It used to be the only place you could do it was Nevada or Atlantic City.
Right.
Now it's, like I said, 34 more states, and so it's crazy. So,
it is crazy. Yeah, so. U.S. Open continues. They'll have the semifinals.
Yep.
And then the finals coming up this weekend.
Coco Gauff made the semifinals, I believe. And she is that the youngest woman since Serena, I believe, from the USA.
Yeah. First teenager, actually, to make it.
First teenager since Serena, I believe.
Since Serena in 2001.
Yeah.
She had a match the other night against a lady from Latvia. Took 68 minutes. 6-love, 6-2.
Yeah.
That's
only
quick
played
work.
Yeah, they played 2 out of 3 sets. So
Yeah,
she's fun to watch. She's a lot of energy there.
So that's coming up this weekend, the U.S. Open finals for tennis. So we've got high school football for you on Friday night.
Yep.
Tomorrow night, Neillsville Granton hosting Fall Creek. Game time 7 o'clock. Pregame at 6:35 on 92.7 WPKG.
Should be a good one.
Yeah.
Should be a good one. Coach Mickelson's done a good job over at Fall Creek, and this is one of the teams that we thought would be right in there with Neillsville for the top spots. So we'll see. So
yeah, all right. That'll be two guys on sport. Don't forget to join us for that football game tomorrow night.
Please. if you're not there.
If you're not there, yes. It should be a nice night. It should be actual football night.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Friday. It was supposed to be a high of 74, I believe.
Yeah.
So it should be just perfect weather to sit out there on the hill and watch the Warriors.
By the time the game comes, it should be very comfortable.
Yes, it should. So.
That's two guys on sports for this week. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson.
Talk to you again next week.
Yeah.